Our speaker today is Rev Carol Willis. Rev Carol was involved with the Unity Faith for more than 25 years, mainly serving in youth ministries. Her interest in the metaphysical aspects of Christianity led her to the Center of Enlightenment, where she has been an ordained minister since 2015. And on August 18th, 2024, almost a year ago, Rev Carol was named Senior Minister by Rev Keith Norton. As such, she is responsible to guide the church using the four classic cardinal virtues of prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude, with the three theological virtues of faith, hope, and charity. Her mentor in the ordination program was Rev Ken Nowaczewski, and he says she's doing a great job. Please welcome Rev Carol Willis.
I always say that they actually forgot to put one more spiritual gift in that list, the gift of patience, because I think that is my main lesson in this lifetime, to learn to be patient, to wait on God, and really listen. It's hard to just be patient in traffic anymore. So anyway, before I start, I just would like to welcome some very special people this morning from, should I say, the old days? From the early 90s. We have with us this morning Reverend Mike and his wife Sharon Comito. Thank you for joining us this morning. As a matter of fact, the Comitos were married by Reverend Ken.
Yeah.
Oh. And also returning to Center of Enlightenment, a beautiful couple that we've come to know. And I found out that they were part of the congregation that was in the other building on Rochester Road, Tommy and Mel Jefferson. And of course, all of you, I'm so happy to see all of you here today. Some folks that I haven't seen for a little while, some that have truly come from out of town to be here, like the Comitos and our friend Dean, and probably a few others, some folks that have been part of our past that have come back to join us, and it's so good to see all of you here. My talk this morning is entitled According to His Purpose, and His is a capital H, which means God. One of my favorite Bible verses comes from Paul's letters to the Romans. In Romans 8:28, we read, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to His purpose." And that means God's purpose or God's plan of good for our lives. Every adult in this room has been called to fulfill a part of God's plan of good in their life in one way or another. Our beloved Rev Ken Nowaczewski followed God's calling to become a spiritualist student, who then became a spiritualist minister. Reverend Ken's involvement, dedication, and commitment to the Center of Enlightenment shaped the destiny and evolvement of our church. We're talking about decades of service from this man. And I can remember him saying to me one time, "My wife is really mad at me because for years I've missed holiday services and birthdays and family celebrations because of church." Now that's dedication, even though he had to take all of that from his wife. Reverend Ken was one of the 14 members of our church who were attending a national spiritual convention, and the group gathered in a hotel room to discuss if they should break away from the National Association and become independent because they weren't being recognized as a full member church in the association. And they didn't like that. And so they thought, well, maybe we should just go out on our own, then we can do our thing. So the 14 went into prayer and meditation for guidance. And there are more than one story about the effects of this group on the environment in that moment. I've heard stories that they prayed and stirred up so much energy that the building began to shake, that the windows were rattling. The story Reverend Ken used to tell was that there was ectoplasm around the hotel room door, and it began to pulse like a heartbeat, becoming more and more pronounced with each beat. And so they knew this was their sign because they had asked for a sign when they went into meditation. That this was their sign that they had asked for to guide them in their decision to become independent and break away from the National Association. In 1983, paperwork was filed with the state of Michigan to become an independent 501c3 nonprofit church. And here we are today, still a 501c3 nonprofit independent spiritualist church, thriving and growing. We are today a thriving example of a group who took a risk and followed Spirit's guidance on that day in that hotel room. And we owe them a deep, deep gratitude of thanks. Over many decades, Reverend Ken has had a profound influence on many lives. Some of those folks are in this room today. I would say all of the folks in this room today have had a profound influence from Reverend Ken. Whether Reverend Ken was teaching a class or counseling or giving messages or readings or even telling jokes, a person always left his company a changed person. I can remember going out to breakfast with Reverend Ken, and you know how he is. He gets in a group of people and he has to start telling jokes. First, it's a whisper over here to the person on his right, and then they start laughing, and people said, "What are you laughing about?" Now, pretty soon the whole table is hearing the joke, and everybody feels really great, and they go home and they're uplifted. Our current group of 5 ordained ministers were all students of Reverend Ken's, and every one of them is in this room. Could you stand, please, our 5 ministers? Let's give them a hand. Thank you. Reverend Ken gave us a strong foundation on which to build our ministerial careers and to keep our church thriving. For me personally, I probably was the biggest doubting Thomas of anybody. Reverend Ken kept telling me that he could teach me how to become a medium. And I said, I don't think so. He said, why? I said, well, I consider myself to be pretty intuitive, but I just don't think I have that gift. And he said, Carol, everybody has that gift. They just don't know that. And he said, I can teach you. And I kept looking at him like, yeah, go ahead and try. But I can say that even though at first I wasn't convinced, he encouraged me to take the mediumship class. And was I ever surprised? Because he was right. He was right. He could teach me how to be a medium, and a fairly decent one. I mean, I don't consider myself to be great, but on occasion, I hit the nail on the head. Today is a special day of honoring and celebrating Reverend Ken Nowaczewski for his dedication and contribution to the Center of Enlightenment. The ministers decided to dedicate this sanctuary in Reverend Ken's name. And we have a beautiful photo. Reverend David, would you hold the photo up, please?
It's on the front of your program.
And we have this beautiful plaque, and they will be hung on the doorway as you come into the sanctuary so everybody can see. And it says, "In gratitude for decades of loving service to Center of Enlightenment, the sanctuary is dedicated on July 20th, 2025 to Reverend Kenneth Nowaczewski."
It's in the Zoom picture. There you go.
We have both. Cool. This is getting to be a habit. We need a bigger church with more rooms because so we can dedicate more things to more people who are special. Okay. So I just showed you the beautiful photo and plaque. And so before I finish this morning, I would like you all to join me in a short prayer. So let's close our eyes for just a moment. And Reverend Ken, we know that you're here. And we hope that you are feeling all of our love coming to wherever you are. We are very grateful to you for all of the love, wisdom, dedication, hard work, time spent to build this church. And we're grateful that we're all benefiting now for that prior effort that was done in love. As Reverend Ken has contributed to the consciousness of Center of Enlightenment, so does everyone in this room. Over the years and now and in the days to come. Thank you, Reverend Ken, for laying that foundation. Jesus said, "On this rock I will build this church." Center of Enlightenment has been built on a rock of faith, and it stands firm. Loving Spirit, we are so grateful for Center of Enlightenment, for all of the ministers that have come before, who have contributed to the consciousness of this church, have allowed their spirits to visit here and support us. We give thanks for our leadership team here, and we give thanks that our ears and our inner ears are always tuned to the guidance of Spirit. We thank you for this special day of celebration. the joy that it brings forward, the memories that come forward, the laughter that comes forward, and the gratitude for all that has come before this time. Loving Spirit, we ask your continued blessing on Center of Enlightenment as it continues to grow, evolve, thrive, and continues to be. For all of this and so much more, we are truly grateful. In the name of the living and loving Christ's presence, we say amen. Thank you again for coming this morning. I am so grateful to see all of you here and to celebrate this special occasion with all of you. Because without all of you, this church just wouldn't be happening on any level. So I want to send my personal love and gratitude to all of you for being a part of Center of Enlightenment. You have made it a special place to be. The ministers can only do so much. But if we don't have the people around us that fill the pews, that do the volunteer work, that take the classes, that support the church through time, tithe, treasure, we wouldn't be here. And so for me, knowing Reverend Ken's dedication to Center of Enlightenment, that inspires me to try to have that kind of dedication to this work. This work is important to me. It's important to our whole ministerial team, or we wouldn't have bothered, because it took a lot of time and money, commitment and study to get here. But we were inspired by Reverend Ken. And so I want to thank all of you. And please stay after for our luncheon where you can visit with each other and I can visit with you. And maybe you'll hear Reverend Ken. Certainly you might remember some more of his jokes. So thank you for being here today. God bless all of you. I love you very much.